Hello and welcome to Barre. This is a mixture of ballet, Pilates and other fitness elements, and it's going to work best today if you are in socks or in bare feet, so you can really feel the feet working into the floor. And today we are going to be using whatever you have for a bar, so back of a chair, edge of a table, the wall, the mantelpiece. And along with that we will have some exercises with either a small stability ball or a small cushion will work just as well. So grab one of those, have that nearby. But we will be starting at the bar, no props needed. We're going to be popping the feet into line with the sit bones. We'll start with an exercise that comes from the Total Barre repertoire. It's going to be upper body movement. There's a little bit of plie through the legs, there's a little bit of movement a little bit lower into the spine, but it's really about this upper body and breadth of movement in the arms and the torso. I think that's all we need to be going on with. It's 4 movements, so it's reaching across with the arm, pulling back with the elbow. The second movement, still a reach through the arm, but it opens out all the way. The third movement, similar fashion, but a curve, and then opening on the same trajectory, but opening through the chest. And then the fourth movement, a little bit of a step on from that, a side bend. And we do 4 of each, well, that's a lie, we do 6 of each, 2 slow and 4 fast of each movement, all on one side and then all on the other side. And we'll have some other bits as well in between. So this is quite easy to follow along with, so come along with me. We will be starting lengthening up through the legs and lengthening up through the chest, opening the chest to the sky and coming back in again to arm neutral. Go for that one more time, breathing in, opening the breastbone, lifting the gaze to the ceiling, coming back down again. We're going to start by reaching one arm across. So reaching across the body nice and slow, pulling open through the elbows. So we get a little bit of rotation in the top of the body. And then we're going to take that a little faster. 4 times, just a little faster. The other hand supporting on the bar, just resting there to give you a little bit of balance. Then we're going to take the same motion through the first half, but we're going to open out in the second half. And you could take the gaze towards the hand if you wanted, but it doesn't have to look all the way to the fingers. And then we're going to take that 4 times faster again, trying to keep the pelvis nice and still facing towards the bar. On this one you could add a little plie if you wanted, and opening the chest to the sky. So it's that same opening that we had right at the beginning, but now with a little bit more movement through the sides of the body, and this big opening through the arm. 2 more on that speed, and then it becomes a side bend. We slow it down again. Side bend and opening away. And trying to marry in our breathing with our movement. Doesn't matter if you inhale into the side bend or you exhale into it, as long as you're finding breath and motion together. Let's change sides, reaching across with the arm, pulling back with the elbow, rotating through the torso, nice and slow to start. Bringing it into a little bit faster, a little bit more dynamic, but keeping pelvis, knees, feet all facing towards the bar. And then we take that with the open through the arm on the other side as well. And you can take the gaze slightly with it if you wanted to, but it doesn't have to look all the way to the hand. And then we're going to take faster again, 4 times faster. Keep deepening the breathing into the sides and back of the lungs. Taking that into the curving version. So we're curving over and then opening through the breastbone. Big wide curve through the arm. Try not to lock it in towards your head. Keep reaching the arm away from you. Taking more space. And 3. And over again. And 4. Comes into a side bend. Here we go. Slow it down to start. And opening away. Same thing again. Nice and smooth. And reaching away 4 times faster. And 1. Breathing with the motion. Everything flat to the bar now. Reaching up and away. Let's come back into that lift of the chest and release. One more time, a little faster. And releasing into a curve through the spine. Stretching through the legs, restacking through the top of the head. Last one through that. Curve down and unroll. And we refined that lengthened parallel position. And we take a little bit of padding through the feet. We're going to be taking the feet and the legs into a first position. So just give them a little walk into that first position. We're thinking easy turn out from the top of the leg. So rotating the whole way down so that when we take our plie, we've got the knee sending out over the center of the foot. So just starting to find that drop of the sit bones, lengthening through the legs. At the same time, nice and wide through the collarbones, lifted through the top of the head, sit bones dropping down as the head reaches up. And it's spongy through the knees, spongy through the ankles, nothing snatched or fast, just smoothly dropping down, calming back. We're going to add in a shift to one foot, so it becomes more of a fondue. So we're going to go down on 2 feet, we're going to shift to one, we're going to come back again and lengthen. So we've got down, just taking the foot to the ankle, and we're extending all the way to the tips of the toes on that foot, coming back. We're going to add in, again, this is going to be a little reach forward into a tendu. So we're going to come down, we're going to shift, we're going to reach that leg away. We're going to come down, come back, and lengthen, take a little rise, and lower. Go for the other side, down, across, with the foot, bring it back to 2 feet. Now we're going to get rid of the rise and lower. We're going to have that point twice. So we're down, we're across, we point, come back to fondue, go point, back to fondue, back to plie, and stretch. Exactly the same on the other side. So we're going to go out and in twice, and in its second time, and in. Take the same thing, but we're going to take the point to the side. So we shift to one foot, point to the side, bring it in, point to the side, bring it in, back to 2 feet. Same again, drop it down. This can just come to the side of the ankle. We're taking a fully extended leg and foot to the side, come down, you guessed it, to the back, behind the shoulder, in, behind the shoulder, take it in, behind the shoulder, take it in, back to 2 feet, back to lengthen, back to bend, to shift. Keep thinking about the 2 hip bones facing evenly towards the bar. We'll take it back to the side once again, we're down, to shift. We also want 2 level hip bones, so not letting that working leg hip bone lift up. So everything is very long on both sides. And we reach away, and in, and out, and in. We're going to change it up one more time. So we're going to come in, we're going to take a bend, we're going to take a stretch. Take a little noodly leg, just in your own time, finding that rotation in and out through the leg. Take it back out to the side, take it in, take a close. One more time on the other side. So we're just noodling the leg in and out in that fondue position, rotating in the hip socket. Take it out to the side. Let's close it back in. We're going to take a rond de jambe exercise. Rond de jambe is the circling of the leg. We're going to do it on the floor today. You can do it in the air as well. We're going to take a slightly staggered rond de jambe, whereby we're going to have a point to the front and a little tiny lift up and down. It's going to go around to the side, a little lift up and down, around to the back behind the shoulder, a little lift, close it in. Then we'll take a little staggered rond de jambe, just a little pause in each position, and then a rise and a lower on the end. We'll do it outwards on one leg, outwards on the other leg, inwards on the first leg, inwards on the second leg, and maybe we'll do it again. So the idea here is that the legs stay lengthened the whole time. No bends, no plies for this one. Everything is through lengthened legs and feet, and the sponginess coming from the movement through the foot into the floor. So once it closes, spongy foot into the floor. So we're always drawing a D shape, D's on the floor. Let's give it a go. So the pattern's starting to the front first of all. So finding that first position, just make sure you've got enough space to take the foot towards the bar. If you're against a wall, you might need to be side on and then switch around to the other side for the other foot. Here we go, take the leg forward. So it's going to come front, little lift, place it down, take it to the side, little lift, place it down, take it to the back. It's not a high lift at all. We're going to close, we're going to draw that D shape on the floor, staggered leg, and then we rise and lower. That's the whole thing, it's still on the other side. Little lift, take it down to the side. Reach that leg away rather than up. Think away from you. In to close. Take a D shape on the floor, rotated leg, and then we rise and then we lower. And we do the whole thing on the other side, coming back the other way. So it's round to the side, up, come down round to the front, take it up, take it down, close to the back, to the side, to the front, to the close, rise and lower, other leg goes back. Trying to keep the pelvis the same, regardless of where the leg is in space, so there's no movement through the pelvis, to close, to the back, to side, to front, to close, rise and lower. Let's take it all over again. So it starts to the front, little rise. And it could be just a little touch higher, but it's not a back one. It's just nice and small still. Opening away on the floor to close, rise and lower, other leg goes front. Reach away, take it down, to the side, reaching away. Maintaining that turn out to the back as well. That's the trickiest one. When it's around to the back, keep thinking heel, trying to look around to the front. Last time, other side, reach away, down to the side, long on both sides of the body. Lifting through the tops of the ears. Taking it back, taking it round, taking it front, close, rise and lower. Second side and 4, 3, 2, 1, it's back. Reach away, come down, to the side, reach away. To the front, reach away. D shape, goes back, goes side, goes front, goes close, little rise, slowly lowering down through the music, slowly lowering down through the knees, slow, soft plie. We're going to rotate the legs in to a parallel. We're going to step it back, step it back, step it back, step it back, step it back. Little reach through the body, lengthening the torso. Take that into a little tiny cat stretch, lower back, middle back, upper back curving, then lower spine neutral, upper back extending, forwards lifting through the tops of the ears. One more of those, sit bones dropping down, rounded spine, bent knees protecting the hamstrings. Use the breath. Finding that extension. We're going to drop it back into that neutral spine. Little feet, little feet, little feet, little feet, little feet. Come back into that plie. We're going to lengthen back up, all the way back up to that rise. See if you can take a little balance here, taking the hands away from the bar. Think back of the skull, lengthening upwards. Hands coming back onto the bar, slowly lowering back. I would take a little bend again, just a little bend. Nice and spongy. Spongy through the legs and the feet and the knees. We're going to take this into an exercise for jetés. Jetés, just slightly further away from the floor than a glissé. So we have the tendu, that's completely on the floor, the whole way in, the whole way out. We have the glissé, just a little escape, tiny little escape just away from the floor. And we have the jeté, sort of think 45 degrees, a little bit higher, but not particularly high. We are going to take 8 jetés to the front with one foot, straight to the side, straight to the back. Front, side, back. Then we're going to do some arabesque, raises to arabesque at the back. Raises to arabesque. We're going to start from one foot. We're actually going to pitch forwards in this one. You could, depending on what you're resting on, is the position of the hands. I'm going to be here. And we're going to take a lengthening, and I'm going to move the chair at this point, and down into the floor. So the body staying the same, and fully extended leg, lengthening and raising and lowering. We'll just do that separately on the end, 8 and 8. Now, depending on what you've got in front of you, I'm quite conscious of kicking the chair. So I'm actually going to slightly angle my forward ones just to either side. You might need to slightly angle yourself as well, depending on where you are in space, and then just shift around back to the bar. Try and always shift on the ball of the foot. It's very good practice to shift on the ball of the foot as opposed to the heel, because it relates to other things like rises or even pirouettes. So it's better to always train that even from the tiny movements. So let's give this a go. So 8 jetés, front, side, back on one side. Here we go. Brush in, brush in. So it's fairly nippy. We're going to speed on. We've also got that length and that balance on one side. We're going to take that straight to the side, same foot. And it's brushing the underside of the foot away. Reaching through the toes, reaching through the length of the leg. Take it to the back. This is a real glute one. Try not to tilt through the pelvis, but using the glute to lengthen the leg away from you. 8 to the other side. So we're coming back to forwards. I've slightly angled again. Grounding that supporting foot into the floor. Take it to the side, it's reach away. And we're lengthened on 2 sides of the body. lifting through the top of the head, and reach. Take it to the back away. And I was going to say I'm 4, but we're not in 4. Here we go. Here's 4, here's 3, last 2, last 1. Change it over. Just take that leg back behind you. You might need to shift around to find this ideal placement of one long standing leg, one long torso. We just extended in a rotated position to the back. We're just going to lengthen and replace to that point. On 5, 6, here we go. We lengthen, replace. So it doesn't need to come too high. It could be at 90 degrees, but as long as it's not coming from your lower back, as long as it's coming just from the glutes and the hamstrings, lengthening that leg away. And we're going to replace that leg. You can take a little bend here if you wanted. Just shifting the weight, lengthening that leg behind, finding that central place once again. Here we go on the other side. We're lengthen, replace. And so we're just touching the toe down into the floor, so the back of the leg stays engaged. 4 to go. Open through the collarbones. Pressure down through the forearms or the hands if you're on your hands. Take it down, take it in. Bending through the knees, lengthening up. Let's come back into our little rise place. So again, long, strong legs. Lengthening up through the top of the head. Reaching the hands away. Reaching the hands away. See if you can take them up into a 5th position. Whoop, she says, trying not to fall backwards. That was terrible for me. Let's try it again. So with the leg coming up, and so as the arms raise, try not to let the weight of the body, there we go, send backwards. We're going to open the way to the side, and we're going to slowly lower down through the heels and replace. Good. Shake off through the legs. We're going to be grabbing this on front here. We're going to be taking an exercise again for glutes and hamstrings. This one moves more in and out of parallel and turnout. So the ball is going to be coming, or the cushion is going to be coming into this little space behind the leg. We're coming back to here, but I'm standing on a parallel leg now rather than a turned out leg. And I've still got parallel hip bones, so we're trying not to lift the hip of the working leg. Try and keep that really parallel. We're going to take, you can have a flex foot or a pointed foot here. We're going to take some heel squeezes up towards the ceiling, and we're going to take some opening through the knee out to the side. So it's rotation and also extension through the hip. We're going to go for 8. So 8 lifting up, 8 to the side. 4 lifting up, 4 to the side. 2 and 2, 1, 1 and 1 and 1, and then we switch over to the other leg. So shake it out, grab your ball, your cushion, pop it into place. Find your starting position. So you want to have, again, forearms, possibly it's hands, depending on the height of whatever you're using. Possibly it's forearms against the wall. But finding parallel leg, parallel hip bones, and finding, let's go with a flex foot on these, and then a pointed foot on those. So flex foot to begin, here we go. On 5, 6, here we go, we squeeze. Take it down. So it's a slow squeeze, it's not too fast. And we're wrapping the TVA around the waist. And we're thinking obliques, lengthening the body on both sides, stopping it, rocking and rolling side to side. This is going to become a pointed foot to open out to the side and come back. And this is the one where the hip bone will want to come with you. And you've really got to think about keeping 2 hip bones facing towards the floor. If there's any tension in that underneath leg, you could always take a little micro bend of the knee just to soften. We're going to come into 4s, flexing into 4 and in, squeezing that ball or cushion in place. It's going to be 4 to the side. Check in with your shoulder socket. Is that still nice and stable for the torso? We're coming into 2s, flexing the foot 2 and in and 2. Pointing the foot 2 to the side, keeping that knee slightly back behind the other one. Last 4 pulses, and it's 1, and it's 1. Last one, either way, and point, and open, and in. Release the ball, release the leg, shake it off. We'll do the same thing on the other side. You might feel a bit into the glute of the standing leg, but that leg has been supporting. That's very normal as well. Taking that into the leg. Finding our lengthened start position, here we go. We flex the foot and in 8 times. Grounding that supporting foot into the floor. And trying not to rotate that top leg as it's reaching up. I feel like mine were rotating a little bit there. We're trying to keep that as parallel as possible, taking it to the side. Now it's a rotation, but with this rotation we're trying not to let the knee drop forward. So it's more of an attitude, a ballet attitude position. 4 more to go. And then we're coming back in for 4s with our flex foot parallel 4 and in. It's 3. Is your TVA still wrapping on your lower abdominal, still gently pressing back towards the spine. Little internal hug. 4 to the side. Then we're down into 2s. Remember, you can take a little bend on that supporting leg if you need to. Down to 2s. 2 to the side. I'm just looking at how the pattern on my chair looks like a little puffin. Sort of the bill and the eye. Good to notice things in the room around you. That's the last one, and we can release that ball. Take a little shake out through the legs. We've worked in parallel, we've worked in turn now. Let's just take a very little bend of the knees, rotation inwards through the legs. It always feels a bit like you're about to do the time walk, but just to have that inward rotation as well. We're not trying to achieve anything, push anything here. It's just the feeling of that internal rotation. If you don't like it, come back to just a parallel instead. But if it's okay, just that little internal rotate, that little wiggle around there, as long as it's spongy through the knees, soft through the ankles, coming back again. Here we go, we're back to our friend the ball. One more standing exercise at the bar of the ball before we come down to the floor for a little bit of core work. We're going to take our rise and lower exercise. So this is from plie and rise. We do that 3 times in a row. And then after the 3rd one, we have 2 little extra rises on the end. And usually we do it in a sort of parallel together, first, parallel second position. Today we're going to try it with the ball. There's a little bit more fun and games involved. It's going to start between the ankles, and we're going to do 2 sets of everything just to make it a little bit more developed. But there'll be some shifting around in between. So we'll start with the ball between the ankles in parallel, facing on towards your bar. Let's go this way instead. So we're in the middle of the screen. Here we go. So we're going to bend and stretch and rise and lower. So we've got plie, stretch, rise, lower. So it's fairly swift. And we've got 2 rises on the end. We'll do that again. Bend and stretch and rise and lower. We're going to take the same thing again. We're just going to move the ball up to between the knees. So just take a second. Shift the ball. So really sort of above the knee joint, between the inside thighs. You might need to adjust slightly through the feet. So now we're really thinking inside thighs. And so the knees, really concentrating on tracking that parallel through the knees. One more time, we bend, we stretch, we rise, we lower. Always the same pattern. And then 2 rises on the end and on the end. Good stuff. Take the ball back down to the ankles. But take 1 foot away from the floor. Here we go, wrapping the glutes. Bend, stretch, rise, lower. Now if you need to go a little slower than the music, that is fine. Going for control over speed. 1 more time on this side. And we're trying to keep 2 level hip bones. Feel the glutes, feel the length in the back of the working leg, which is also the supporting leg. Shifting over to the other side, taking your time. Going to take the same thing again. Wrap the glutes around. We've got bend, stretch, rise, lower. It's a little challenging. I think I'm going to lose the ball. Don't worry if you lose your ball or cushion. Just keep going. You can always attach the foot to the leg instead. And rise and lower, and rise and lower, and rise and lower. Shake it off. 1 more version. We're going to go for a first position. We're going to take the ball just under the knee and then take the foot there. So we get this retire leg. And that's going to try and stay there. If it's not comfy, you can always take it a little lower. Yeah, wherever on the leg is good. So we've got bend, stretch, rise, lower. So now the ball will move a little bit in relation to the working leg. 1 more set this side. Go bend, go stretch, go rise, go lower. Go bend and stretch. Last one. 2 rises, up, go down, shifting across to the other side. Final time. Here we go. Ball in place, foot on the ball. 5 and 6, and here we go. We bend, we stretch. Woohoo! You might find one leg is a lot more au fait with this than the other. That's very normal. We'd love to be two completely symmetrical sides, but in reality we aren't, so just working as evenly as possible as you can. And we're done with that one. Releasing the ball, shaking out through the legs. Let's have a little mini glute stretch while we're here. So taking that figure 4 position, take a little sit down onto your invisible chair. So we are going to be coming down into the floor for a little core work to finish off. And we'll take the ball or cushion with us. Gently change across to the other side. Hook the leg over above the knee. Flexing through the foot just to help with the angle of the knee over here. Having that invisible chair to support you. You can do this just with the hands on the wall. You can do this just without holding on to anything. Just try not to press onto the leg. And then release. Drop your ball into the floor. We're going to go and meet it in a second. Let's take a little roll down. Let's arrange the furniture. So we can take a little roll down into the floor. Here we go. So we're going to be dropping down through the chin, through the top of the spine, curving over in the back. Bend the knees as and when you need to. Finding that length in the torso, finding that heaviness in the torso. Walking the hands, bend towards straight legs, walking away into your, let's actually roll it up and over. Let's come down to a little quadruped. Let's take a cat stretch once again. So lengthening, opening through the chest, curving back up and over, lifting the spine to the sky. Sorry, that was spine to the sky. Opening away. Last time. And then we are going to be fetching our ball, coming around to a seated position. So we are going to take the feet into line with the sit bones. We're going to place the ball between the knees. We'll take a little half roll back exercise. The half roll back comes from ideally a neutral stacked upright pelvis. When pelvis doesn't move, we just curl the top of the body over the legs and we reach the arms forward. From there, little squeeze in the glutes, tucking the tailbone under. We're going to roll the body back in space. Exhaling as we go, and then inhaling as we return. So we've got squeeze the glutes, roll it back. And inhaling, roll it forwards, keeping a little light squeeze, light pressure on that ball as you're rolling. And inhaling to come back. So you're only rolling about halfway, but you want to keep curving into yourself. Try not to open back. Keep curving inwards, tucking the tailbone. We're going to add an arm. So we're going to exhale to roll back. We're going to inhale to raise an arm. We're going to exhale to bring it down again. Inhale, raise an arm. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, roll up and over. And you can do this in time with your own breathing or in time with the music or with both. So for example, you could roll back for 2, count swoop up and down. And we're up and down. Roll forwards, 1 and 2, roll back up. And 2, inhale 1, X1, in 1, X1, inhale for 1 and 2, last time, roll back. So we're thinking parallel legs, parallel hip bones, rolling up and over. We're going to release the hands down, shift yourself so you can roll back into the floor. We're going to be coming up into a tabletop position. So we're going to use our imprinted spine. We're going to draw the feet towards us so we can hinge them up into the air, into this tabletop. We're going to place the hands behind the head. We'll have some oblique twists. So start from a breath in. We're going to exhale, flex and rotate. Inhale, return. Flex and rotate. Inhale, return. Trying to keep the legs and the feet as still as possible, so that the body, the lower body, doesn't shift with the upper body. The two things working in isolation. Upper body working to find this rotation. Think armpit towards thigh, sternum rotating. Lower body working just to stabilize against that. We're going to come into our final exercise on our core workout. We're going to take the ball away for a second. Roll yourself up to a seated position. Pop the ball behind you. This requires a little bit of Maneuvering. You're going to roll over the ball so that your chest is heavy into the floor and the pelvis is on this lovely unstable surface. To re-find our imprint position, to re-find our tabletop legs. You might need a second just to check in with your balance. Check in with a toe tap, coming down and up. Exhaling down. Inhale to replace, or if it's better, inhaling down, exhaling to replace. Try and lead the movement with the breath. And if that's feeling okay, we could lengthen 2 legs to the sky. We could take one away to a diagonal and back. So it's a very similar movement. Think of this almost as a step on from the toe taps. So we've got stability through the top leg and we've got mobility through the bottom leg. And if that's feeling okay, you could take that a little lower. And if that's feeling okay as well, you could take a little scissor motion. Reach further, change, reach further. So we're thinking parallel to start. And we're thinking 2 hip bones looking to the sky. Keeping that imprint position, that little softened lower back and engaged abdominals on the front. We're going to go for 8 to finish off, 4 each side, with a rotated leg. So we're thinking passing through a first position, and 2, and 2. Other side, this will be number 3. Reaching toes, toes. Wide breathing, opening the chest into the floor. Last one, and last one. Bringing the legs back up again. Back to parallel, shift in. Have a little shift of your butt, roll that ball away. Take it into the chest, give a little hug. And we're going to be coming back up to standing. Release your ball or cushion. Take the hands behind the legs, gently roll yourself up to a seated position. Maybe take a moment just to curve. Breathe into the side and back of the lungs. We're going to be shifting around into a crouch position, so swinging the legs around or up and over. Coming into this little crouch in the balls of the feet. Think of sinking the heels down and curving the body over. If you're someone who can easily sit with the heels down, you might need to take the hands forward, have a little lean forwards just to feel a bit of a stretch into the back of the calf, the ankle. We're going to drop the heels down and start to unroll through the body, lengthening through the legs, restacking through the torso, coming back up to standing, finding that lengthened spine position. And we are done there for today. Thank you very much.